it's Hannah, and I'm here today with a spoiler-free review for you. So, I wanted to kick off this review saying this is going to be a spoiler-free review of To Kill a Kingdom, which I was so amazingly sent by NetGalley. It's a free website. You can go ahead and I'll leave a link down below. It's great for creators, and it's just a free website that anybody can join. So I will leave a link down below, and let's get on to the review. So To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo comes out actually today, and this is to let you know whether I think you should pick it up. So if you guys haven't heard of this book, it is all about a Little Mermaid retelling, but a little bit of a deeper twist, a darker twist. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. So this book starts off, instead of a Little Mermaid, it being a siren who is the heir to the throne. And the throne is the Sea Queen, and she takes on a lot of similarities of Ursula from the original Little Mermaid. And there is a war between the sirens and the humans in this world. And there's also mermaids that you see them interact with. Mermaids, the difference between the mermaids and the sirens in this book is that the sirens absolutely despise humans. They're despised of everything that they stand for. Not to mention they killed their ancient ancestor, so it is this centuries-long feud that the humans killed their ancestor, so the sirens take revenge on humans, and then the humans are trying to fight off the sirens, so it's a giant battle. The difference between sirens and mermaids is mermaids love the humans and love everything they stand for, and they just they want to be humans, and sirens want to kill everything that is human about humans. So that is where we start off. So our main protagonist is the heir to the throne for the Sea Queen and will one day inherit the throne and the trident of power. And as for tradition for the sirens, they kill humans, but they take the hearts of their victims as they are dying after they have lured them to their death with their singing voice. They take their hearts and they bury them in the sand for every year born. So that's how they keep track of their age. So her mother started her off young by killing for her and taking only princes' lives. So then she had this renowned title of the Princess Bane because she only hunts princes, and it's very prestigious of her to only consume these princes and take their lives. So that is one of our POVs, and the second POV is a prince that she is hunting, who is also a pirate, which is great. So he spends time on the ocean, and that's where his heart belongs, and he loves the ocean, he loves what he does there, and he thinks, feels that it's his noble purpose, and that is he hunts sirens. So we can easily see a hate relationship right off the bat, which is fantastic. And the prince often has to come back to do princely duties, and so he often has this switch personality between the prince and the pirate. And I really, really liked that aspect of it. So that is where our story lies off. That's what this book is about. And then it grows into something so much more. So first things first, the characters. I absolutely love them. This is quite a darker tale of The Little Mermaid. And the way that it's woven, it seeds the story with the original Little Mermaid retelling, but the way that she tells the story and the way that she evolves the story very much turns into an adventure story, and it's so good and so flawless the way that she transitions into this and to turn it into something of her own. So it's not just, everything that's going to happen from start to finish if it's retelling. Usually that's my problem with retellings, is that it's so predictable because we already know the story. This, she puts her own spin on it, and it's so good, and I really, really enjoyed the way that she told the story. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is her writing style. She does such a good job at the world building and describing the scenes, and she uses all the senses so well. I even, one of the things that really stuck out to me when I was reading this was that she was describing how things smelled. in several different places in this book, and it just really rounded out the whole picture, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. I think like she does such a good job of putting yourself in the scene, and like even now not reading it, I can like still picture the different towns that they're going to and stuff, and it's so good, and I really loved it. The other thing that I didn't get a lot of was you don't get a ton of underwater scenes. Like I felt like that was the only part that was lacking in this, that in the descriptive sense, was that the underwater was just underwater. Like we don't really get too descriptive of it. So I mean you get a little bit, but not as much nearly as what we got on land, which I mean the on land was like spectacular, but that was the only thing, is that I didn't get a ton underwater descriptions. And like I said, back to the plot was so good. It definitely is an adventure novel, which I wasn't expecting going into this. So we start off, like I said, with something very similar to The Little Mermaid, and then it just blossoms into something so much more that I didn't know that I wanted in this book, or that I was expecting. So we have the political intrigue because we've got the princely aspects of it, but also because we've got the princely aspects on land, we also have the like royalty aspects down in the water, because she's also the heir, and I really loved that, and I really liked the connection between the two, that you could see how their lives were kind of similar even though they are vastly different. I also really liked the brutality of it. I liked that we saw her being so cutthroat as a siren, and how she was raised to be cutthroat, and he fights that, but it's also his natural instinct, because it's him being a pirate, and he has the instincts, but it's presented in a different way for him, and it's just, I really liked those different, like the similarities but the differences, and you kind of saw like different moral characters and how people were raised, and how that changed how they react to things later in life, and it was really good the way that she wrote her characters. I really enjoyed it, and the way that furthered the plot line. So I would say that the story is definitely plot driven. However, the characters really still stand out, which is very unique, because you usually have either a very character driven book or a plot driven book, and this is definitely plot driven looking back on it, but the characters stand out to me like a lot. So I really enjoyed this aspect. I think she wrote it beautifully, her descriptions are amazing, and I really enjoyed the storyline. The storyline overall wasn't too predictable, considering I was expecting it to be really predictable with it being a retelling. So it was, yeah, you could definitely see where the story was going, but it wasn't as predictable as I was expecting it to be, so I was pleasantly surprised with that aspect. Overall, I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. The main thing that I really took away from this was that in between the POVs, you're switching back and forth between each chapter, and I don't know if it's just because I was reading it on my e-reader, because that's how NetGalley sends their e-arcs, but when I was switching back and forth between POVs, I couldn't tell whose head I was in, and that's the only thing that really I took a dig with, was because the voices weren't immediately distinctive when you are reading the book, and I really thought that hurt the story a bit, because I would go from in her head underwater to him on land, and it like took me probably a page and a half to figure out who was talking and where we were in the story. So that kind of drew me out of the story. Once they started interacting in the story, it got much better, and you could really see the distinction in the voices that way, but there was still not as much as I would like it to be distinctive between the two different voices. However, I still think the characters were amazing. So that is my overall review. If you are looking for a little bit of a darker mermaid story in YA setting, or sirens or pirate books, I highly recommend checking this book out. Even though I own an e-copy, I think I still want to own the book, just because it was so good, and there's not a lot of mermaid books out there that I enjoy. Like I've read one that I've like really stand out to me that I would reread, and I definitely think this is definitely one that I would probably pick up like around summertime, just to get like that summery feel, even though it is darker. If you have any recommendations for mermaid books, let me know down below. I have read The Siren by Kiera Cass, and I have read the trilogy of Neptune by Anna Banks. So don't recommend me those two, but if you have any more, let me know down below. And that will be all for this review. Let me know if you're planning on picking this one up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!